Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're talking 25 pieces of juicy advice about the carnivore diet. If we're just meeting, my name's Claire, Carnivore Claire. Do hit subscribe down below. On this channel, I talk about not only the carnivore diet, but weight loss and chronic illness as well. Over the last 9 months, I have lost 100 pounds on the carnivore diet. So do subscribe and follow for the tidbits of advice that I can share with you. So the first one is don't go cold turkey. I see so many people when they start the carnivore diet, they just stop eating carbs completely, start eating carnivore, and I did it myself when I started too. It's a rookie mistake because what happens is you get hypoglycemia and those symptoms are not pretty. So that's what happened with me, and I had to stop the diet and restart it and taper down the carbs. So I started with 80 grams, then 60 grams, 40, and then 20, and now I keep it under 20. The next bit of advice is don't buy what you can't afford. I see a lot of advice online suggesting that you need to buy grass-fed organic produce from the best butchers available. It's just not sustainable for most of us. Most of us are coming at this with a deficit of money being a real big issue, and if we've got to do that, we're not going to be able to afford one meal, let alone 30 meals in a month. Eating meat at any kind of quality is going to be beneficial for you. For myself, I eat the cheapest cuts from Aldi, which are about £3 a piece, because that's all I can afford. And my health is in a much better place right now. Buy the best that you can afford. But if you can only afford the cheapest, don't let it put you off, because you're still going to improve your health. Don't worry if you don't lose weight initially. I know a lot of people come to this diet because they see others losing drastic amounts of weight and they want an easy way to lose weight. Let's face it, losing weight is not easy no matter what you do. When we see people doing the carnivore diet who lose hundreds of pounds of weight, it can be really, really enticing. But what you have to understand is the carnivore diet is not predominantly a weight loss diet. Really, the carnivore diet is just about autoimmune issues. So people who lose a lot of weight often have autoimmune issues, and once they have calmed the inflammation down in their body, they're then able to lose weight, and that's the weight loss that you see. It's not impossible. You can and you will lose a lot of weight on this diet, but you're going to have a bit more of a struggle. Now, I do have autoimmune issues and I still struggled. In the first month, I didn't lose anything. The second month, 20 pounds. The third month, nothing. And then after that, I added in fasting in order to be able to regularly lose the weight. Your body's really adjusting and you're just getting used to this new way of eating. So don't put the added pressure on yourself of losing weight immediately. It will come off. You may have to do extra things, which we'll talk about, but it will come off at some point. The next piece of advice is to weigh daily if it helps you. This is quite a controversial one because a lot of people believe that you shouldn't weigh daily because it can affect your mental health too much. Now, I would say, I'll caveat it to say that if you struggle, if you have weight issues and mental health issues, and perhaps weighing daily isn't for you. But if you're someone that can manage that side of things, then I wholeheartedly recommend that you weigh daily. For me, I've lost a lot of weight twice now, once with the SAD diet and once with the carnivore diet. And both of those times I needed to weigh daily. What happens is when I weigh daily, you will see fluctuations daily. But what happens is if I fluctuate upwards, that really inspires me that day to be better with my food. And if it goes down, it gives me a real boost and helps me be better with my food. So the next thing is to take measurements. So if we're weighing daily, taking measurements is also really important, because when you weigh daily, you don't necessarily see the big picture of how much you're losing over time, because you're just concentrating on the tiny bit of weight that you're losing day on day. So for me, even though I weigh daily, what I do is take my measurements once a month, and that's a long enough distance of time where I can see some real change. If you have reactions to food, stop eating them for a while. The good thing about the carnivore diet is that it's an elimination diet. You're getting rid of all the processed food, all the junk out of your body. You're going to enable your body to calm down. And because we are eating very few foods, but we're eating the same food over and over, sometimes our body can react to that. And it might be you're coming at it with food intolerances as well. So if you find you're having a food that is causing a reaction in you, just stay off it. Because you're on this elimination diet, over a couple of months, your body is going to repair itself, your gut is going to repair itself, and you will be able to eat that food again in the future. For me, it was eggs. For about 2 to 3 months, I didn't eat any eggs. And then once I came back to it again, I'm just fine with eggs now, and I eat a lot of eggs every day. Be mindful of calories, but do not starve yourself. So this is another controversial one in terms of the carnivore diet, because there is a group of people that say you don't need to worry about calories. Calories don't matter on the carnivore diet. Just eat until you're full. I don't subscribe to that idea whatsoever. I know calories do matter. Whatever you're eating, calories do matter. If you have an excess of calories, underserving of calories, either way, you're going to affect your metabolism and your weight. It's not that simple. Hormones play a huge role as well. But if you're someone who is used to obsessive eating or just uncontrollable eating, eating disorders, binge eating, then this advice is really poor advice. What you want in those situations, because I am someone who was a binge eater. I got up to 20 stone plus by binge eating. I'm always going to be a binge eater. I've been on the carnivore diet 9 months now, and if I eat one trigger food, I will binge still. So it will never go away. So you have to manage it. So I do have to be mindful of calories. If I wasn't mindful of calories, I would not have lost a pound by now. But I've been very, very mindful. In fact, I incorporated fasting. So really my advice is, in the first month, eat as much as you like. But if you find the scales are going up, start to monitor your calories a little bit. You don't have to count every single calorie that goes in your mouth, but just be aware of roughly how much you are eating. So the next piece of advice is that fat or magnesium will cure your constipation. So when we come to the carnivore diet, we often find that our bowel movements are altered in some way. So you tend to either get diarrhea or constipation. I've had both in my time, but I'm more on the side of constipation, especially when I reduced my calories. So basically the theory is that if you have diarrhea, you've got too much fat in your system. If you have constipation, you don't have enough fat in your system. So the first port of call, really, for me, is to suggest that you increase your fat if you're constipated, or reduce it if you've got diarrhea. That doesn't always work. It didn't actually work for me. So when I increased my fat, I got really bloated. If that doesn't work, magnesium citrate will be your friend. I take a magnesium supplement every night before bed, and it's got 4 different types of magnesium in it, including citrate. Don't stop supplements that you were benefiting from. There's a lot of advice out there that say you should not need any supplements because this is a proper human diet. Now, in my opinion, that is at best an optimistic look at it, because back in the day it would have been the optimum diet, but our meat is not produced in the same way that it was back in the day, and so we do not have the same nutrients. The people who recommend you don't need any supplements, they're not thinking about it in terms of our bodies are individual and not everyone absorbs vitamins in the right way. So the next piece of advice I've got for you is to eat sea salt, not Himalayan salt. So before I came to this diet, I was eating Himalayan salt thinking on being really healthy, and I was, because Himalayan salt is a lot better than table salt. However, Himalayan salt doesn't have all the electrolytes in equal measure, so you're not going to be getting the optimum health. but sea salt, particularly Celtic sea salt, does. Now, Celtic sea salt is the only salt that I really eat these days. I bought a bag of Celtic sea salt and it's lasted me 3 months and I've barely gone through it yet. Consider fasting for additional weight loss benefits. So if you're like me and you were doing the carnivore diet for a little bit and you're really struggling to consistently lose weight, then fasting is going to be your friend. I had lost 20 to 30 pounds, but it was so inconsistent and I really wanted to lose it. I'd gotten a taste of weight loss. It's a bit of a cheat actually, because you will lose a few pounds if you do a 24-hour fast. And I did that, but not only did I get the weight loss, I felt amazing as well because of my health. I have a lot of gut issues. So when I don't eat for extended periods, I feel amazing. Like I feel amazing now because it's 3:30 and it's 24 hours since I've eaten. So after I film this video, I will be going to eat. I started off doing a 24-hour fast once a week and I got so many benefits from it that I started doing OMAD, which is 1 meal a day. So I just eat as much as I want for 1 meal and then I don't eat for 24 hours. And that really is the secret to the vast weight loss that I have achieved. The next piece of advice I have for you is to ignore people who try to talk you out of the carnivore diet. This will happen if you tell anyone what you're doing. In the beginning, I would recommend you don't tell anyone. Whose business is it? For me, I went the other way. I announced I was starting it because I was starting this channel. On my other channel, I announced that I was going to start the carnivore diet and I had people come forward, panically urge me not to do this diet, that I would regret it. I would end up with cancer and all sorts of other things. I ignored them and did it, and now look, proud of myself, I have to say. I'm in I'm in the best health of my life. If I had listened to that person who told me all the dangers of doing this and how I was going to really damage my health, I would still be morbidly obese, bedbound, unable to do anything. My life would be over, quite honestly. So get your bloods done regularly. I really recommend before you actually start this diet that you go and get your blood panel done, because then you'll know your starting point. Because what will happen is if you go on this diet and your bloods do become out of range, people will blame the carnivore diet. And when I say people, I mean doctors. If you've had your bloods done before you start, you've got a reference point. So you can then say, my cholesterol or whatever it was is out of range before I started this diet. This diet's not to blame. If you're doing the carnivore diet but you're not doing any exercise, then incorporate walking into your daily routine. When I first started the carnivore diet, I wasn't doing any exercise. I was bedbound for the most part. But after about 2 months, I developed enough strength to be able to do a small amount of walking. Now, I have chronic fatigue syndrome, so I have post-exercise malaise. So anytime I do any kind of activity, in the beginning, it was just having a shower. It would send me back to bed. But over time, I started to build my stamina through the diet because I wasn't eating inflammatory foods. And then once I was strong enough, I was able to incorporate daily walking. I would say actually the walking aided the weight loss as well. Even though exercise doesn't directly cause weight loss, what I found was my appetite was much more regulated when I was doing a lot of exercise. Take progress pictures as you go along on this diet. So I would recommend that you take pictures before you start, and then maybe on a daily's too much, I think, but weekly or monthly basis, take shots, close-ups of your face, a full figure shot, especially if this is for weight loss. But even if it's not, even if it is for chronic illness or autoimmune issues, then taking pictures of your face and your body will show you the inflammation coming down. For me, I wanted to start this channel when I started it so that I had something to look back on. Obviously, not just to look back on, to help other people with as well. I'm so thankful that I did start this channel in the beginning, because now if I go back and look at my very first video, to how I look now, it's very, very different. And I think when you make changes, when you get better, when you get slimmer, when you have less inflammation, it can kind of be difficult to remember the past as it was. If you're enjoying this video and you would like to see more content on the carnivore diet, do hit subscribe. I would love to have you here in the family with me. Do comment down below which is your favourite tip, which thing has helped you the most on the carnivore diet, and let me know your progress. If you've seen success on the carnivore diet, even if you haven't, we need to know what's going on out there because there's limited research. If you would like to, purchasing me a coffee would be really, really helpful. I don't earn a lot on this channel, and anything I do earn really helps me to bring more videos to you more often. So something that is really important on this diet is to stay hydrated. When we were eating a carnivore rich diet, we got a lot of our water in our foods. And when I was on that diet, I would have a really hard time actually drinking water. And I think it's because I got so much fluid in my food. Since I've started the carnivore diet, I had to train myself to drink more frequently. Because I'm not eating carbohydrates, the amount of water I'm taking in is a lot less. Added to that, when you're eating a lot of protein, that can be difficult on your kidneys. So you really do need the extra fluid. Ensure that you are getting enough fluids and make sure you're having electrolytes with them. If you take a dab of Celtic sea salt before you have a drink, that will ensure that the water gets into all of your cells. The next one is to change up the meats to stop the boredom. So something I hear from people all the time when they start the carnivore diet is that they are bored eating meat, and it is boring to begin with. I went through it for a day or two where I was really, really bored with eating it. I incorporated cheese and fat into the diet, and that made it a lot more palatable. But also I changed the meats. Initially I was eating beef, lamb and pork, but pork became inflammatory, so I stopped eating that. So I was just eating beef and lamb, and I really, really enjoyed the lamb, and I would alternate between beef and lamb every day. Eventually someone said stop the lamb because that's probably causing you some inflammatory issues. And then I went to beef only. Now if you're only eating beef, I put this off for the longest time because I thought eating beef on its own is going to be so boring. But what happened was I realised that I could have different cuts of beef. So one day I might have a sirloin, another day I might have a ribeye, then I might have a rump, and I just try lots of different things. Also, I might have it in a steak, I might have it in meatballs, I might have it in ground mince. I find if I just have something different, alternate the types of meat and the textures as well that I'm having on a daily basis, that stops me from getting bored at all. Try meats from different places to get the best quality for the best price that you can get. So it can be really hard to know ahead of time if meat is going to be quality. There is a vast difference. So what you want to do is shop around if you can and try different meats from different retailers and see which ones are tasty. And it might not be that you're looking for the best cut, it might be what tastes good to you. Cheese can slow your weight loss down, but it is a really good source of fat and calcium. I'm someone who has incorporated cheese into my diet. I am a cheese fiend. I cannot help it. I love cheese. This next tip is a big one, and that is to make sure you buy fatty cuts of meat and eat all of the fat. So we were trained as we grew up that we shouldn't eat fat. Fat will make you fat. Absolutely nothing could be further from the truth. I eat a high fat diet. Look at me, I have lost nearly 7 stone. So make of that what you will, but I always look for the fattiest cuts. Often the fattier cuts are cheaper as well because it's the meat that is expensive. Certainly when I buy mince or ground meat, I buy 20% fat. That is the cheapest mince that you can buy. But even when I buy steaks, I always look for the fattiest cut. And this is why I love a ribeye, because it is so fatty, and I think the fat is the tastiest part. It's probably the most nutritious part as well. It's also going to satisfy you, so you're going to eat less. Ignore those voices in your head that tell you that fat is bad. It's not bad. I'm no doctor, as we know, so don't take it as medical advice. So the next tip is to cook with butter or animal fat. So that could be duck, goose, tallow. There's lots and lots of options out there. But what I found was, in the beginning, when I was constipated and I needed to increase my fats, I started cooking with these animal fats. And what happened was I was more regular, more satisfied. Eggs are a really great source of vitamins and nutrients. So if you are not incorporating eggs into your carnivore diet, why the hell not? They are amazing. Obviously, if you have reactions to them, as we spoke about, you will need to omit them from your diet. But otherwise, I wholeheartedly recommend them. And don't just eat the whites or the yolks, eat both, because you get so many nutritional benefits from them. I find, because I'm on a restricted diet, if I didn't eat eggs or cheese, then I'm going to get a lot less nutritional benefit than if I do incorporate those things. If you're finding that you can't consume enough protein can be really difficult to consume. I know if I eat a certain amount of it, my body just says no more, it's had enough. If that is you, then something you could do is add collagen. As we get older, I'm perimenopausal now. My collagen production has dropped significantly. I just went a couple of months with no collagen, and my skin, my hair and my nails really suffered. I started on the collagen last week again, and I look and feel so much better. So the next tip for you is that if you fall off the carnivore wagon, get straight back on. The carnivore diet is an extreme diet, and it's going to take an adjustment to get used to it. If you're someone who has eating issues or eating disorders, then you're especially going to find the carnivore diet difficult, as I did. When I first started, I was eating carnivore, but I was also eating bananas and avocados because I could not have any carbs whatsoever. My cravings would not stop, they would not abate. A couple of weeks ago, I was going through a thing of buying a yogurt, like a toffee flavoured yogurt. You can imagine the carbs in that. It wasn't too bad. But having one of those every day really got my cravings going. I've stopped that now, and I feel a lot healthier for it. If I just kept binging, which did happen actually when I first moved into this property, because my whole life changed overnight, I was struggling actually to stay on the carnivore diet, and I kept binging day after day, and I put on 9 pounds in about a 2-week period. So I was like, I cannot do this. I haven't come this far to undo all the work. So I stopped it. I got back on the wagon, and it's all good. And this tip is going to be completely contradictory to the last tip. Well, you might think it is anyway, but it's not really. And that is, stop cheating with carbs, because your body knows. So obviously we all have cheat days, and that's okay. There's no point beating ourselves up about it. If you say to yourself, I'm never eating another carbohydrate again, you'll be lying to yourself, because you will. In that way, for the previous tip, it's very healthy to not worry too much about it and just get back on the wagon. But over time, we have got to aim to be not having those binges, to not be having any carbohydrates, or as little as humanly possible. I know for me, I might just say to myself, I'm going to have some cheddar cheese, which is like 4 grams of carbohydrates, which is okay. I'm actually okay on anything under about 15 grams. So that's okay. But then if I one day want to incorporate a yogurt, which is about 20 grams of carbohydrate, that's going to take me up. If you are having a little bit of a cheat with carbohydrates are inflammatory for a lot of people, and it's probably you if you're on this diet. So just stay away from them as much as you can. My body is the boss of me, and my body dictates what I can and can't consume. So stay away from carbs because they're not good for you. With that said, that is all I've got for you. I'm hoping that this video can be released. I'm sure it can. Thank you for watching. If you have watched to the end, consider purchasing a coffee. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know which tips resonated with you the most. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.